Depression and Alzheimer's. This is rampant now in our country. This one, there was a 2024, a retrospective case series, and which is a higher quality. It's more than a case study. It's a series of cases that were reviewed. And they documented that you could reverse major depression and anxiety disorder using a ketogenic diet. So a ketogenic diet, getting into a state of ketosis, and completely remission was achieved in only 12 weeks. Could you imagine, Joel, going from being depressed and anxious every day, and then 12 weeks later, it's just resolved. It's gone. Like
Wow.
that's remarkable. There was a 2023 review that said that exercise, that's all they did. They just changed the exercise. It can reduce mild to moderate depression and anxiety in adults. And here's the thing. They compared this group with people who were on the standard of care with the standard medications for
Yeah.
depression and anxiety. The
Mhm.
people who exercised, that group had more improvement than the group that was on the standard medication. So exercise outperformed the standard medication for anxiety and depression. So,
Mm.
I mean, it's remarkable what you can find in the literature. Alzheimer's. This is one of my favorite categories to discuss because Alzheimer's is very scary for a lot of people because of the narrative that we've been told. Okay. So cognitive decline can actually be reversed. Even going back to 2016, there was a study published in Aging. And what they did was they used this personalized, holistic therapeutic approach. And so that meant like diet changes, checking for nutrient deficiencies, incorporating exercise, incorporating cognitive skills. So maybe like, solving puzzles and things. So using your mind, socialization, which is also very important. So they use this holistic therapeutic program, and they were measuring things like with images of the brain. So it wasn't just a subjective, how do you feel today? Can you remember this? They also combined that with imaging. And what they saw was that there a significant number of people regained normal functioning, and some of them actually even returned to work. In the imaging, one of the cases in particular, they had their hippocampal. So there's the hippocampus in your brain, and they imaged to get an assessment of the volume of that part of your brain. And it often will tend to decrease with Alzheimer's. The volume does. So what they showed was it was originally at the 17th percentile in volume. By the end of the study, it went from 17th percentile to 75th percentile. So the
Wow.
brain grew back. And that
Mm.
was in only 10 months. 10 months. Alongside it were cognitive improvements. Now, there was another follow up to this in a 2023 review that also reported cognitive improvements in early onset Alzheimer's using the same approach. Dr. Dale Bredesen, who I would love to get him on our show, he is one of the ones who's leading the charge in this field. He is implementing these holistic protocols, and he's seeing people return to work and engaging in everyday behaviors like cooking and cleaning and socializing. There's also a 2-year program that was run. It was called the Finger Study, and this was out of Finland. And they combined exercise, nutrition, the cognitive training, like we talked about, and socializing. And they saw that they also had a, a reversal of cognitive decline. And they said that the no current pharmacological treatments can rival the effects that they're seeing. Okay, that was published in the Lancet.
Yeah. Sina, think about modern American culture. Let's just deal with ourselves. Modern American culture and the normal aging process. Okay. So um the kids are gone. you're empty nesters. And so it gets more and more difficult to cook for just two. It's fun to cook for kids and,
Yeah.
people around. And so I don't know how many, I'm sure you've heard this, how many people I know, especially if they lose a spouse, but even when they're empty nesters, oh man, it's such a drag to just cook for the two of us. So what happens is here you are at this elderly part of your life, and you start going toward convenience. Well, what happens when you go to convenience? Then you go to ultra processed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like as you're going through this, it just I'm struck by how this how the decline is there's more things than just choosing food. There's all these social. I spoke up at a Waldorf school up in New England. I can't remember where it was now, but they had a day school and combined with a elder care facility, and they had this huge day room where almost daily the children in the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old elementary school kids would come into the day room with the elderly folks, and they would snap green beans, they would quilt, and the old people would, yeah, I almost get just break down. It was so profound, and I watched these old grandmas and grandpas and stuff, uh, um, whether it was whittling I'll be sexist here, but a guy would teach a 6-year-old how to whittle a whistle, for example, that he grew up doing, and grandma would teach how to quilt or needlework or sew or something, especially to the little girls. The sexism isn't important. The important thing is that what you had here were one-on-one mentoring social interactions of needfulness from the old person as they led the eagerness of a child. And we don't do that in our culture. I mean, these elderly, so you're an empty nester, you quit cooking, and then you quit being rubbing shoulders with young people, especially with kids, except for the 1 week a year you go see the grandkids, and take them to Disney World or whatever. But there's not a and you get aches and pains, so you don't want to exercise. You reduce your gardening or whatever you do in your work. And so these things, these socialization, cognitive skills, you quit reading because whatever, it's easier just to turn on the tube and watch something. And so these four things: diet, exercise, cognitive skills, and socialization, those all, you just look at our culture as a person retires, all four of those things are endemic. They're endemic at that stage of life. Friends, want to dive deeper into our thought-provoking conversations? Become part of the Beyond Labels family today by joining below. For any gift amount, you'll get access to the full, uncut episodes.
Every contribution, whether big or small, keeps this podcast going.
So join us and expand your Beyond Labels experience. Thank you.